Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for January the 2nd of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube and podcast services around the world. So if you enjoy the show, you like what you see, hit that platform subscription button of your choosing and get the show delivered to you every single weekday. Now, of course, this is the first episode of the brand new year. Did not have one for January the 1st because I was recovering from New Year's Eve, as many around the world obviously were. But hey, January 2nd, back to work, hitting the grind. We're back at it. But plenty of news to dive into after that bit of a break because tons of stuff has been going online. Specifically going online is a leaked intro of the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. We'll talk more about that and what that could mean for the coming week, which potentially does include some kind of debut of the demo itself. Would love to see it. Then Red Dead Redemption 2 could be coming to the Nintendo Switch, but we'll talk more about the possibility of that and an explanation for a Switch Pro controller hidden in the texture files of the game itself. Then Metro Redux could also be coming to the Switch, as well as Void Bastards moving to the PlayStation 4. Speaking of PlayStation, I've got your Plus games for January 2020. Then Nintendo Switch SKU listings at GameStop suggest another Nintendo Direct is on the way. And finally, Untitled Goose Game has pinched 1 million in sales to date. Very impressive, and congratulations to the team behind the big viral game of 2019. But that is our lineup for today's show, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top gaming news. The Final Fantasy VII Remake demo is definitely happening as a full intro has leaked online. Last week, the PlayStation Store listing for a supposed Final Fantasy VII Remake demo was discovered. The leak looked legit, and with the full game due out in just a few months, the sudden appearance of a demo made total sense. But if for some reason that leak was not enough to convince you that a demo is definitely coming, this brand new leak should do the trick. Likely making use of a modded or jailbroken PlayStation 4, YouTube user Lestraza has managed to pull the demo's files from the PlayStation Store servers to get it to run. Well, kind of. The below video does not get into the demo proper, but it does show the start screen and the opening cutscene. We would recommend watching it sooner rather than later. It may only be a matter of time until the footage is taken down. And so as of 5 o'clock in the morning on January the 2nd of 2020, the footage is still up available to watch, but we are not going to be clicking on it on today's show because I don't want a copyright strike and or lawsuit from the guys at Sony or Square Enix, because that's a big possibility. So instead, we'll talk about it. It's about 3.5 minutes long. It shows pretty much exactly what you would expect, and it's basically a shot-for-shot remake of exactly what was going on the PlayStation 1 with the original game, which is exactly what people have been wanting. Now, I mainly want to talk about the fact that this has to be coming out soon. The demo, I'm saying. It makes a ton of sense to release a demo roughly about 3 months before a game launches, because that gives everybody a very wide berth to get in there, try the game, see if it's something they like before the actual release date, which of course is March 3rd of 2020. Now, I've never been a big Final Fantasy guy. I know a ton of people that grew up playing Final Fantasy VII. It's one of their favorite games of all time. Obviously, this has been a hotly anticipated game for the past roughly 3 to 4 years, maybe even longer than that. But the game itself looks gorgeous from the gameplay that's been shown officially. And on top of that, this leaked cutscene, it looks pretty good as well. So if you do want to dive in and give it a look for yourself, you better check it out online ASAP. Otherwise, you are going to have to wait until the full reveal and release of the demo itself, which again, I say could be coming later this week, because again, we saw last week where the demo was listed on the store. Then we see this week with the giant remake intro. You might as well just go ahead and pop that cherry. That's a gross saying, isn't it? However, you could be seeing Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Nintendo Switch soon, or you could not. It depends on exactly how, filled with childhood hope you want to be. For me, no, I have no hope left. There's a Switch Pro controller hidden in Red Dead Redemption 2's texture files, but it could not be a Switch port just yet. A data miner has found a Nintendo Switch Pro controller hidden in Red Dead Redemption 2's textures, and while it is natural to be hopeful for a Switch port, it is more likely there is another, admittedly less exciting explanation for the discovery. The Switch proved itself capable of running massive, graphically intensive games with the recent Witcher 3 port. Pause. This is that's a bit much. Running massive, graphically intensive games, technically yes, but scaled down to the point where it looks like a mobile phone game. Anyways, which suffers considerable visual compromise but runs competently enough. And although Red Dead Redemption 2 is a newer game and a near peerless technical powerhouse, it is not entirely outside the realm of possibility that Rockstar could make a Switch port at some point. Unfortunately for now, it's more likely that Rockstar is working on bringing support for the Switch Pro controller in Red Dead Redemption 2 on Steam. Red Dead Redemption 2 just released on PC in December with support for Xbox One and PS4 controllers, but the appearance of the Switch Pro controller in Red Dead Redemption 2's texture files seems to suggest support for the gamepad is coming to the Steam version of the game. That said, nothing has been confirmed at this point, and it's all speculation. Asked last year about the possibility of bringing Red Dead Redemption 2 to the Switch, former Nintendo of America boss Reggie Fils-Aimé said we would love for it to be there, adding that the game's development predated any communication of Nintendo Switch. So at least according to the beloved Fils-Aimé, we are not crazy for hoping, but it sounds like we will be wise to temper expectations for the time being. This is not going to be happening. Of course, I say that, and then all these giant games come out, like Skyrim and Witcher 3. So it's possible, technically, but considering Rockstar's history with porting to the Nintendo Switch, we haven't really seen much activity at all. Or communication. In general, they kind of just don't acknowledge the system. Now, would it sell very well? Yes, it would, because The Witcher 3 did very well on the Nintendo Switch. But I just don't know that Rockstar is ever going to take that leap and really dive in and commit to making a dedicated Nintendo Switch version of Red Dead Redemption 2. If anything, I would love to see an original Red Dead Redemption remade for the Nintendo Switch, because that one had less expectation, took less power, that one kind of makes more sense, and then they could test the waters and see if it's something that people would actually enjoy. But the Switch Pro controller support coming to Steam, that's a bit of a shocker for me, because I know that the Nintendo Switch Pro controller does work with PC via USB, so there's nothing that's like crazy about that. But it seems kind of curious that they would put that much effort into making sure that the Switch Pro controller was compatible. However, Rockstar is, a glutton for specifics. I'm not sure if that was the correct way to say that, but they like their details. It's kind of their thing. So you could be getting some Switch Pro controller support on Steam in the coming days, or alternatively, we could be seeing a full reveal for Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Not at all. However, what you can pretty much guarantee is that Metro Redux is coming to the Switch and Void Bastards is coming to the PS4 if a rating in Europe is anything to be believed. The Pan-European Game Information Board, otherwise known as PEGI, you might know it, sounds like a 50-year-old woman, has rated Metro Redux for Switch and Void Bastards for the PlayStation 4. Metro Redux includes both Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, and first launched on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC in August of 2014. A Switch version has yet to be announced, but Portuguese retailer Gaming Replay recently listed a Switch release, which has since been removed. Void Bastards is a strategy first-person shooter inspired by BioShock and System Shock 2, which first launched on Xbox One and PC in May of 2019. A PS4 version has yet to be announced, but it looks like, according to Peggy, she was just at the diner talking about these games. No, they really should be coming soon. And these both make a pretty good amount of sense in my mind, especially Void Bastards. That one's very, very fun. I played it via Xbox Game Pass, really cool art style. It really does pop off, and I must admit the gameplay itself, pretty fun with a lot of replay value. Now, Metro 2033 and Last Light, both very, very beautiful games with some pretty good story, and of course, they all lead up to Metro Exodus, which came out last year as well. And so, to see these two on the Nintendo Switch is going to be very exciting for a lot of Switch owners, but for me, Void Bastards on the PS4 could be the more exciting announcement here. Of course, all these games are phenomenal, and I'm glad to see them jumping the pond to whatever destination they might have, regardless of system or company. But keep your eyes peeled. It looks like January is going to be jam-packed with some pretty big games. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and reorganize today's show because, speaking of Metro Redux listing for the Nintendo Switch, that could be coming in a brand new Nintendo Direct for January. Did you like what I did there? Did you see that on-the-fly transition? I'm putting producer on my resume. But Nintendo Switch SKU listings at GameStop suggest another Direct is coming soon. 12 new GameStop SKU placeholders listings for Nintendo Switch have appeared, which may mean another Direct is coming soon. Before previous Nintendo Directs, unspecified SKU listings have appeared on websites like Amazon or GameStop. While these are technically placeholder listings, they do indicate impending announcements. The cycle seems to be repeating itself once again as Twitter user @YuYuKami spotted brand new GameStop SKU listings for Nintendo Switch games. Overall, 12 new Nintendo Switch games are listed alongside known releases like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, FE Encore, and Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, and this leak seems pretty credible. This SKU listing does not leak any specific game, like with what happened to Overwatch's Nintendo Switch port, but it is a good indicator that another Nintendo Direct will be held over the next month or so. With the exception of 2016, Nintendo has held some kind of major Direct every January or February since 2013. Nintendo has not had a ton of major first-party announcements since September's Direct, and their 2020 lineup is looking pretty barren after Animal Crossing New Horizons right now, so I would expect another Nintendo Direct to happen over the next month. DualShockers will keep you informed as more information about the next Nintendo Direct and its exciting announcements begins to crop up. In the meantime, you can check out September's Direct below. I wouldn't recommend it, there really is nothing else to talk about there, but I think another Nintendo Direct is definitely on the way, specifically because, as this article said, there's really nothing else happening in 2020 right now for Nintendo outside of Animal Crossing, which is fine in and of itself, but there has to be more, right? And so I think that's where this Nintendo Direct is going to be coming in. But a January Direct is always a pretty good move because it seems like there isn't much happening in the gaming industry. January tends to be a pretty barren month. Every industry across the board has this kind of lull because everybody's, on the high of the holiday season. You've got Christmas, you've got New Year's, you've got Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all these other things going on. And then it's just cold and the tree's gone and snow comes, or in North Carolina's case, it's 65 degrees and beautiful. But regardless, there's still a bit of a slump. So this would be a good pick-me-up for the gaming industry, and I would love to see exactly what these SKUs are going to be whenever the big Nintendo Direct does eventually roll down the pipe. But hey, we'll see what happens. However, the PlayStation Plus games for January of 2020 have all been revealed, and I must admit, you're kind of getting a 4-in-1 here. Oh yeah, it looks good. Sure, that Uncharted film is stuck in development hell, but the games aren't, and soon you will be able to get the first 3 games for free if you have PlayStation Plus, or maybe you just want to be a goat. A little odd, but hey, you will probably enjoy Goat Simulator, which is the other PlayStation Plus game this month. As always, these games are only free if you have an active PlayStation Plus membership, and they are available from the 7th of January to February the 3rd. Of course, you can always pick up this month's last month's free games, which includes Titanfall 2, until the new ones are replacing those, again, on January the 7th. And so your games, again, for January of 2020 include Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, and Goat Simulator. Both of these solid games, of course, Goat Simulator, not quite on the same level as Uncharted here. But my question now is, we have the PlayStation 5 obviously launching in holiday of 2020. To include Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, do we think that potentially they could be getting people hyped up, bringing Uncharted back into the minds of people to kind of pad some kind of announcement, maybe an Uncharted 5 coming to the PlayStation 5? You see that branding there, 5, yeah, could happen. But it's kind of curious to see just how much they are pushing Uncharted. Of course, we see the news about the Uncharted movie continuing to come out. We see the success of Uncharted 4 and, of course, the standalone DLC. And so, with those being really a big part of the PlayStation 4 ecosystem, it seems like Uncharted is kind of prepped for a bit of a comeback for the PlayStation 5, because it has been a while since we have seen the last Uncharted game. Long enough to warrant any kind of a re-release on the PlayStation 5, yet to be seen. I suppose that depends on backwards compatibility. But all of that beside the point, if you did want to see what games you were getting for January of 2020 with your PlayStation Plus subscription, looking like the Nathan Drake Collection and Goat Simulator. And of course, I'm sure today we will see the Xbox Live games with gold for January revealed as well. But it's probably not going to be Untitled Goose Game, because that one's selling millions. In fact, it has sold 1 million copies to date. That is 7 million honks. It seems like forever and a day since I first wrote about the appearance of a quirky-looking puzzle game about an asshole goose, and although it took a couple of years and some slight controversy, House's beautiful mischief maker Untitled Goose Game finally came gliding into the market earlier this year, and it seems to have nailed the landing. By earlier this year, they mean last year. This article was written on New Year's Eve. As revealed by publisher Panic, Untitled Goose Game has passed 1 million sales within its first 3 months of release, as players on PS4, PC, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch stumped up the coinage to peck away at a prim English village, causing just the right modicum of mayhem to be a complete pain in the ass while still retaining a wholesome tone. I really respect the alliteration of Chris Moyes over here. Nice job. As I noted on Podtoid, Untitled Goose Game is my game of the year, he says. In an era chock-a-block with expansive, high-budget, lengthy, complex releases, it's games like UGG, never heard it called that, that provide me with what I want most from gaming. Short, fun, creative, and emotive adventures, which takes chances in tone, concept, or design, but ultimately deliver memorable experiences, even if they may be brief ones. Kudos to you, asshole goose. Kudos to you. And of course, you can check out the game right now on the PS4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. So congratulations to the guys over there at House for the success of Untitled Goose Game, because it had a huge 2019. I talked about it on the Sammy Awards, which is my yearly award show, but it's rare to see a game that has that virality, that is able to spread so quickly online and become somewhat a part of mainstream pop culture. I mean, you see things on Twitter regarding Untitled Goose Game getting thousands and thousands and thousands of retweets and likes, which is very impressive, but if you just post some kind of gameplay, that's kind of rare. And so with the quirkiness of this game, with the uniqueness of this game, Untitled Goose Game is certainly making some pretty big waves, and it's awesome to see. Absolutely. So if you want to pick it up again, it's out on every major platform right now, as well as PC, and it's also on Xbox Game Pass if you did want to play it for free with that specific subscription. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. Again, thank you guys for an awesome 2019, and I hope that you have a phenomenal 2020. You can always check out my 2019 recap video. I uploaded a little something on New Year's Day just to thank you guys for the support and whatnot. It's over there on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia. But until tomorrow, you have a phenomenal rest of your day. I will talk to you soon, and peace.